Across the vast heart of Africa stretches the savanna, a territory as majestic as it is merciless. Beneath the scorching sun, the golden grass conceals a world where life is never easy, and where every second carries a price that may be paid in full without warning. Here, survival is not a gift. It is a relentless negotiation. Predators advance in silence, calculating every movement with the patience of animals that have learned to read the landscape before committing to it. Prey animals remain in a state of perpetual alertness, aware that any lapse in attention may be the last. In this unforgiving arena, confrontations are fast, ferocious, and frequently decided in moments that leave no room for recovery. Every hunt is a gamble. Every flight is a desperate wager against the odds. Because on the African savanna, survival always demands a sacrifice, and the cost may be nothing less than life itself. But who is willing to pay that price? Who will impose their will in this brutal contest of instinct and endurance? Welcome to a world where life must be defended at every turn, and where survival without exception always comes at a cost. Amboseli is an ancient basin, the remnant of a lake that once spread across this landscape, and today exists as nearly 400 square kilometers of white, arid, and desolate salt flats. In this place, nature presents two opposing faces. On one side, the green wetlands of Inongo Narok, fed by pure underground water originating from the melting snows of distant peaks. On the other, dry plains where every drop of water is earned through extraordinary endurance. Within this unrelenting environment, new lives arrive already marked by an inevitable separation. For African elephants, and indeed for every creature of these lands, the conditions are demanding and competitive. For lionesses, motherhood requires an immediate sacrifice during pregnancy, and after giving birth, they must temporarily withdraw from the pride. The birth of future rulers takes place in absolute silence. During their first weeks, The cubs remain almost entirely still. The faintest sound or trace of scent could betray them to other predators. In this critical moment, a question presents itself. What matters more for a lioness mother, ferocity or patience? Leave us your thoughts in the comments. When the young have gained sufficient strength, they finally emerge into the light and begin to absorb the demanding rhythm of wildlife. Here existence is governed by a fragile and exhausting balance. It is in this environment that young males begin to learn their first lessons in perseverance, growing in strength and character, within what appears to be relative safety, preparing for a future in which there is no second chance for error. Yet the pride does not exist to share food. Its true purpose is protection, defense against intruding males. Even so, the savanna offers no guarantees. Despite this protection, nearly half of all cubs do not survive long enough to see another dawn. And for those that endure, an inevitable change approaches as the first signs of maturity begin to show. Expulsion arrives between 18 and 36 months of age. The presence of young males represents a potential rivalry within the pride and threatens the continuity of the dominant male's lineage. Only 1 in 8 will navigate this period successfully and one day establish a pride of his own. Those that manage it will have transformed exile into strength, reclaiming their place as leaders and continuing the story of those who refuse to yield. But Amboseli is only the beginning. Leaving its dust behind, the journey moves south, where the aridity of the Kalahari is interrupted by a remarkable geological phenomenon, the Okavango Delta in Botswana. Geographically, the Okavango is an extensive inland wetland system covering more than 15,000 square kilometers. Each year, billions of cubic meters of water descend from the highlands of Angola, giving life to this extraordinary ecosystem. As much of Africa endures the intensity of the dry season, the Okavango receives the arrival of its great flood. Trails become deep channels, and arid stretches transform into hidden oases. For the indigenous Baye and Hambukushu peoples, this place is a living record of history, where journeys by Mokoro, their traditional dugout canoes, wind through dense papyrus reeds that have lined these waterways for generations. Yet this aquatic sanctuary, in the midst of drought, also represents an extreme test of adaptation. To survive here, one predator has refined an extraordinarily disciplined social organization, the African wild dog. Unlike many other species, their packs are predominantly male. The ratio can vary from 3:1 up to 8:1. From the first litter, the alpha female tends to produce more male offspring. This is not coincidence. In the complex labyrinth of the Okavango, the pack requires a high number of hunters and collaborators to guarantee long-term survival. While females must leave the group upon reaching 2 or 3 years of age in search of new territories, the males commit to absolute loyalty. They remain with their natal pack for longer, some dedicating their entire lives to the group that raised them. Within this society, leadership is not imposed by force, it is earned. The alpha male is chosen for his experience and capacity to guide. He may have lost a limb or carry the scars of human snares, yet the entire pack respects his authority regardless. Here, individual strength means little if the group does not move as one. When uncertainty arises about whether to initiate a hunt or remain still, the members cast their votes through a series of rhythmic sneezes. If the required number is reached, the collective decision can even override the will of the dominant pair. And when one of their own falls injured, the entire pack acts as a single organism, caring for the wounded animal until recovery. Although reproduction is typically reserved for the alpha pair, subordinate males are occasionally given the opportunity to breed. It is a strategic balance that reinforces cohesion and ensures the most capable individuals remain committed to the group. But not all remain. Around 37 months of age groups of brothers born from the same litter decide to set out on their own. They travel distances of up to 240 kilometers, facing dangers that multiply each time they cross into unfamiliar territory. During the first year, up to 75% of them do not survive. This risk is accepted for a single purpose: to find a group of females that has also left its pack. Together they can form a new one, giving rise to another dynasty. When the alpha female gives birth in the den, the males transform into tireless guardians. They take turns protecting the newborns, confronting even predators such as hyenas. In this world, the future comes first. The pups always eat before the adults until they are completely satisfied. In Sabi Sands, nature does not present itself across vast open plains. The name Sabi is rooted in the local language and carries associations with danger. The history of this land is interwoven with accounts of ancient warriors who learned to move through threats concealed behind every trunk. Today, Sabi Sands bears witness to the free movement of some of Africa's most elusive creatures, separated from the immensity of Greater Kruger by no barrier at all. Every thicket conceals a watching eye, and every branch may become the perfect vantage point from which to stalk. Presiding over this world of shadows is a solitary and imposing presence, the leopard. male can reach 96 kilograms, nearly double the weight of a female. His territory is vast, an empire that can extend across close to 1,000 kilometers of this demanding landscape. It is carefully demarcated to encompass the ranges of several females, ensuring the continuation of his lineage. In Sabi-san's strength is measured not only by the ability to hunt, but by the capacity to hold what has been won. In an environment full of opportunists ready to claim any kill, the leopard has developed a strategy that is uniquely its own, turning trees into fortresses. It can climb to 12 meters, using its powerful jaw and muscular shoulders to carry prey twice its own weight, hoisting the carcass beyond the reach of hyenas and other competitors below. After a gestation period of approximately 106 days, the female gives birth to between 1 and 3 cubs in carefully chosen hiding places, far from the sight of lions, hyenas, and above all, unknown males who represent a lethal threat. The mother must move her cubs constantly. Day after day, she may cover more than 1.6 kilometers in search of safer shelter. A single moment of carelessness, one sound out of place, could mean the loss of an entire generation. By 8 weeks of age, the predatory instincts begin to surface. The diet shifts gradually from milk to meat, and nutritional demands increase rapidly. Initially, the cubs consume barely a quarter of what an adult female requires, but between 3 and 8 months of age, this demand can grow to half. At 10 months old, the young male begins to learn the art of stalking and ambush under his mother's guidance. At this stage, he receives an exceptional privilege. Unlike his sisters, who typically leave earlier to establish their own territories, the male may remain with his mother until around 24 months. This extended period is not incidental. Close to 27% of the prey the mother catches is destined to feed her growing son. He requires more time and more resources to develop his full strength and reach his maximum potential. But as the second year approaches, it will be his own father who forces him to leave the territory. And so begins the hardest phase of his life, the nomadic period. A time of extreme vulnerability in which only 41% of males survive long enough to establish a territory of their own. The rest disappear into the dust of the savanna's silent casualties of natural selection. As the scorching sun exhausts the last reserves of water, the savanna leaves no room for those who walk alone. Prey grows scarce, and survival no longer depends solely on individual strength. It depends on the capacity to form alliances. This is where the social structure of the lion becomes decisive. Although it is the lionesses who lead the hunt within the pride, the males are not simply passive beneficiaries. During their nomadic phase, they must secure 100% of their own food independently. The male lion embodies absolute resilience, a quality that has found its echo even in human rituals of courage, such as the Maasai Mara. Yet their imposing presence also betrays them. For this reason, they learn to move with stealth through dense vegetation, waiting for the precise moment to act. The odds are against them. Only around 17% of males manage to hold control of a pride, and their reign rarely lasts more than 12 months, a period too short to guarantee the survival of their offspring. For this reason, forming a coalition is not a choice. It is a necessity. These alliances fall into two main types. Kinship coalitions are formed by brothers or cousins who grew up together. In larger groups of 4 to 9 individuals, family bonds predominate. However, access to reproduction is not shared equally. It concentrates among a few dominant males. Even so, subordinate males accept this system, for in supporting their relatives, they also ensure the transmission of their own genes. Beyond kinship coalitions, there exist alliances formed between males with no blood ties, typically smaller groupings of 2 or 3 individuals. In these cases, reproductive opportunities tend to be distributed more equally. Their cooperation is founded on mutual benefit rather than shared ancestry. The combined strength of these coalitions is essential for taking on large prey. A Cape buffalo, an adult giraffe, or even a young elephant represent challenges that are simply beyond the reach of a single individual. Only through unity can they aspire to succeed. The ultimate objective of every coalition is clear to claim a pride of females. But when power changes hands, a darker chapter begins infanticide. The new dominant males eliminate cubs younger than 9 months old that were fathered by the previous leader. This strategy accelerates the reproductive cycle, bringing the lionesses back into estrus within days. On occasion, even the mothers themselves, driven by the need to conserve energy, abandon their weakest cubs, placing their investment in a future generation with stronger odds of survival. The size of the coalition determines the duration of the reign. 2 males may hold power for around 18 months. 3 individuals achieve success rates exceeding 95% and can govern for up to 41 months. And in exceptional cases, such as the legendary Mapogo coalition of 6 males' dominance, has been recorded lasting between 50 and more than 70 months. This extended period of control allows a coalition not only to conquer, but to protect and raise multiple generations, ensuring that their legacy endures across the untamed immensity of the savanna. While the sovereigns of the savanna are occupied with their struggles for power, a different kind of alliance is beginning to take shape to the east of the Serengeti. Here, presence is established not through brute force, but through a resource that is purer and more precise. The name Namiri in Swahili means great cat. For 2 decades, between 1994 and 2014, this region was closed to tourism in order to protect and restore the cheetah population. This territory functions as a natural high-speed circuit. Its open terrain allows the cheetah to reach its maximum velocity without obstruction. But that same openness removes any possibility of concealment. Here only two options exist: to be pursued or to lead the pursuit. Yet the cheetah's true strength does not lie in individual speed alone. It lies in something considerably deeper: brotherhood. Upon reaching maturity at around 2 years of age, females separate to lead solitary lives. Males, by contrast, tend to remain together, forming coalitions that can last a lifetime. When a male grows up without brothers or loses them, he may join other wandering individuals, even from different lineages. In some cases, these alliances reach as many as 5 members, as has been observed in certain coalitions within the Maasai Mara. Even so, groups of 2 to 4 brothers represent the most effective balance. This cooperation transforms their hunting capacity fundamentally. While a solitary cheetah achieves a success rate of barely 25%, a coalition can raise that figure to an impressive 60%. As a result, they are able to target not only small gazelles, but larger prey such as adult wildebeest or zebras. Securing food more consistently and defending it more effectively against opportunistic competitors such as hyenas and lions. Within the coalition, the bond is extraordinarily close. If separated, they use vocalizations that can carry up to 2 kilometers to locate one another again. They also tend to share reproductive access to females, generating a degree of paternity confusion. In the Serengeti, up to 43% of litters may have multiple fathers, a dynamic that reduces the likelihood of males attacking cubs. Even so, in coalitions formed between unrelated individuals, a stricter hierarchy may emerge. And when that order is challenged, internal conflict is not uncommon. Further north in Tanzania lies the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, a remarkable imprint left by a volcanic eruption that occurred more than 2 million years ago. Covering close to 260 square kilometers, it holds one of the greatest concentrations of wildlife on the planet, with more than 25,000 large animals within a relatively contained space. Geographically, Ngorongoro is the largest intact and unflooded volcanic caldera in the world. Within this enormous crater, life continues in a closed cycle in which every species faces its own particular challenges. Thermal variation gives rise to lush wetlands that contrast sharply with dry grassland stretches. For the Maasai people, this place is known by names inspired by the sound of cattle bells echoing across the vast basin. In local culture, Ngorongoro is likened to a Garden of Eden. Yet for the hyenas that inhabit it, this place more closely resembles a society governed by strict hierarchy than any kind of sanctuary. If a male is born to a high-ranking female within the clan, he immediately inherits a position of privilege. But as occurs across many social species, to prevent conflict within the bloodline, around 85% of males are compelled to leave their natal group upon reaching between 3 and 5 years of age, setting out to find their place within neighboring clans. Only 15% remain accepting a reduced chance at reproduction with younger females in exchange for a dominant position over any newcomers. For immigrant males, there is a rigid and unforgiving system known as the Q Convention. Upon joining a new clan, they must submit to everyone, females, cubs, and even the males who arrived before them. Advancement here depends not on strength, but on time. Individuals move up only when those above them disappear or leave the group. Life at the bottom of this hierarchy is defined by scarcity and sustained psychological pressure. Lower-ranking individuals always eat last. Fortunately, their powerful jaws and resilient digestive systems allow them to process even the toughest remaining scraps. but the cost is considerable. Their stress levels reflected in glucocorticoid hormone concentrations remain persistently elevated. Isolated and without allies, these males endure the dominance of longer established residents. Among themselves, relationships tend to be built on tolerance rather than direct confrontation. They rarely contest their position by force. Instead, they resort to greeting rituals, delicate interactions that serve to ease tension and test the strength of social bonds. These exchanges, though subtle, are crucial for building alliances that may prove decisive in moments of conflict. Even so, established males can display aggressive behavior, whether to manage the arrival of newcomers or to secure access to resources. Higher-ranking individuals tend to strengthen their bonds with one another or with dominant females, maintaining internal order and suppressing any attempt to advance out of turn. The survival strategy for male hyenas is at its core one of endurance. Given the complex biology of the females, coercion is simply not a viable approach. The male must demonstrate patience, submission, and consistency, gradually earning the favor of a female across an extended period of time. On average, a wandering male must endure close to 2.4 years at the lowest levels of the hierarchy before reproducing for the first time. Many abandon the attempt after 4 years without success. But the most persistent adopt a strategy of proximity. They accompany high-ranking females, continuously drive away lower-status rivals, and protect them from intruders. Waiting for the moment when they are finally accepted and the continuation of their lineage becomes possible. Located in northern Namibia, Etosha National Park extends across more than 22,000 square kilometers. At its center lies the immense Etosha Pan, an ancient salt lake that evaporated thousands of years ago, so vast that it can be observed from space. According to the legends of the Hyenas people, this place was born from the tears of a mother who wept the loss of her entire village after a great tragedy. From a geological standpoint, this region was once part of a vast lake system fed by the Kunene River until movements in the Earth's crust diverted its course, leaving behind a white salt scar stretching more than 120 kilometers. Here, survival revolves around the few remaining water points, true social crossroads, where different species are forced to converge. In Etosha, the constant pressure of predators and the scarcity of resources have shaped the zebra into societies of rigid discipline. A young male's life begins under the protection of a stallion and the mares within the breeding herd. But the moment of departure is inevitable and arrives at different stages depending on the species. In plain zebras, separation occurs between 12 and 25 months of age, often when the mother gives birth to a new foal. In mountain zebras, this departure is delayed until 22 or 24 months. In some cases, the dominant male attempts to dissuade his son from leaving in a complex effort to preserve the balance of the group. For Grevy's zebras, the maternal bond can extend to 3 years. But sooner or later, all must leave. Too inexperienced to establish dominance on their own, these young males choose to join bachelor groups, forming alliances to face the dangers concealed within the thorny scrubland. Each day, the Etosha savanna becomes a stage for simulated combat. Through play, they rehearse the contests that will one day define their fate. These interactions follow a fundamental principle balance. Each participant must have an equal opportunity to prevail, ensuring that play does not escalate into genuine conflict and preserving the cohesion of the group. In this way, they learn to measure their own strength, to manage their impulses, and to prepare for the challenges ahead without damaging those who will one day be their allies. In this demanding environment, vigilance is constant. As time passes and they approach 4 or 5 years of age, the drive to forge their own path begins to emerge. Some begin to quietly attract young females during their first reproductive cycle. Others opt for direct confrontation, challenging the dominant male in an attempt to take control of the group. In the case of Grevy's zebras, the strategy is different. They establish territories of approximately 6 square kilometers near water sources and wait with patience. There they remain steadfast as silent sentinels watching for the passage of females, ready to found a new dynasty in the unrelenting heart of the savannah. As the sun drops below the horizon of the African savanna, the landscape settles once more beneath a deceptive calm. The dust drifts down, the tracks begin to fade, but the cost of survival remains. Some have endured another day. Others have paid the highest price. In this unrelenting world, every decision carries consequences. Every confrontation leaves its mark, and every victory demands a sacrifice. Because here, survival is never free. It is always paid for, in effort, in pain, or in life itself. And when the night folds over these infinite lands, a question hangs suspended in the darkness: who will be willing to pay the price tomorrow? If you want to keep exploring the most intense stories from the wild, subscribe to King Kong Planet TV and turn on the notification bell. Because on the African savanna, life always has a cost, and the struggle never ends.